Morning, Your Honor. This is Rafael Barrera, State Certified Court Interpreter, and I have been sworn.
All right, thank you. Are you Mr. Munoz Cal?
Sí.
Yes.
Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Marco Vinicio Muñoz Cal. Marco Vinicio Muñoz Cal. Marco Vinicio Muñoz Cal.
Marcos Vinicio Muñoz Cal.
All right, thank you. Sir, you are out on bond on a traffic case, and you also were arrested for DUI and operating a vehicle without a license. I will take no action on the out on bond case 2022 CT 1661 with respect to the DUI and the no valid license. I'll set bond on the DUI. I'll set bond in the amount of $500. On the operating without a valid license, I'll set bond in the amount of $500. Yeah. All right, thank you, sir.
Your
No,
Honor,
I mean, don't drive without a license and don't consume alcohol. Thank you.
and Your Honor, is the court appointing the public defender?
Yes, thank you. Or
Thank
we'll
you.
appoint the PD.
And probable cause was found, correct?
Yes. All right, next case is Mr. Chavez Otalaro.
Your Honor, would you mind spelling that last name for the benefit of the interpreter?
Sir, Chavezotalora.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good morning, sir. Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Andrés Giovanni Chávez Otálora, el 23 de septiembre de 1993.
Andres Giovanni Chavez Otalora, 23rd of September, 1993.
Okay, thank you. Do you want the public defender to represent you this morning?
Yes. Sí.
Yes.
All right, I'll appoint the PD to represent you. Sir, you have two cases, one driving with no valid driver's license, and second, fraudulent impersonation, knowingly using or possessing an identification. I find PC on the no valid driver's license. And I find PC on the second case, the fraudulent impersonation. I'll set bond on the first case, the no valid driver's license, in the amount of $500. On the second case, for the fraudulent impersonation, I'll set bond in the amount of $500. Don't drive without a valid driver's license. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, would you happen to have a case number for this last defendant?
22 CT 6581 and 22 MM 7813.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir.
Your Honor, the court no longer requires the interpreter.
Okay, does anyone in the audience need the services of a Spanish-speaking interpreter?
I can make an announcement for you if you like, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Su atención, por favor, si hay alguna otra persona presente que necesite los servicios del intérprete en el público, por favor, alce la mano en este momento.
All right, I don't see anyone that raised their hand or need assistance. Thank you.
You're welcome, Your Honor. Have a good morning.
You too. All right, next case is Mr. Terry. All right.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good
Zach Stumbos on behalf of Mr. Terry.
Okay. Mr. Terry, you are out on bond on 22 CF 12612, and there's a new charge of leaving the scene with an accident with a crash.
Yes, Judge. Judge, in reviewing the 761 or the affidavit, the arrest affidavit, I'd like to point out that he actually did stop 1/10 of a mile from the accident scene, which is 528 feet if we were going to be exact with the measurement. That was the nearest business. He did spend about an hour with the law enforcement officers before they ended up arresting him on this. I am pointing that out, Judge, just from a perspective of, I don't think there's probable cause for leaving of the scene. The vehicle was operative. There's no indication in here that the vehicle was not operative. There was a bumper that was at the scene, but the vehicle was operative, and he did stop. Based on that, I would argue that there's no probable cause for the charge and to ROR him on that. In the alternative, Judge, if you found that there was probable cause based on a tenth of a mile, I would ask, of course, that the first case, that there'd be no action taken with regard to the first bond that he has posted. I don't believe the state has any objection to that, but I certainly don't want to speak for him. And then I would ask for a reasonable bond on the second.
Okay, state, your position?
Yes, Your Honor. It's the state position that there is enough for probable cause based off the affidavit. They do indicate that he was a distance from the accident, and it is the state's position that if you set a bond on the leaving the scene with property damage, that you take no action on the second case. It's the position of the state that there is probable cause, but I do acknowledge defense's argument that the distance is questionable and there could be some valid
Okay.
argument there.
So you're in agreement that there should be no action taken on the 22 CF 12612?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so I'll honor that agreement between the state and defense. I won't revoke your bond based upon your lawyer's arguments. However, I do find PC on the leaving the scene of the accident. I'll set bond in the amount of $500.
Thank you.
Just understand, though, another judge in a new case may or may not set bond. You should thank your attorney, all right? Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll get it posted.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you as well. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
You too.
That way.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I can figure it out. Van a hablar, el intérprete va a ser por oído, eso tienes que escuchar, ¿ok? Good morning, Your Honor. This is Mr. Oliveira, who requires a Portuguese interpreter.
Okay, hold on 1 second. All right, okay, so Mrs. Izquierdo, we don't have the assistance of a Portuguese-speaking interpreter, so do you want to talk to your client as to whether he wants to proceed, or we can reset him to tomorrow in the hopes of getting one?
Your Honor, I only speak Spanish. I don't speak Portuguese.
Okay,
May I have a moment to see if he understands Spanish?
sure.
One moment. Your Honor, I did speak to Mr. Oliveira. He advised he understands when I speak Spanish to him, so he would like to proceed.
Proceed with a Spanish-speaking interpreter?
Spanish and speaking interpreter.
Let me dial them up.
And Your Honor, to be thorough, because I see that Mr. Oliveira is set for a misdemeanor plea, does the court require like a plea form for the misdemeanor? Okay.
Wants to plead this out now?
¿Usted quiere cerrar su caso ahora? ¿Usted tiene otros casos abiertos? Okay.
State, is there an offer on, wait, hold on. Let's go through this step by step. Let me get an interpreter on,
Understood.
and then we'll go that way. I know. Matt, is the interpreter present?
Yes,
Okay, and your name for the record?
Aminda.
I'm sorry?
Aminda.
Okay, and you're the Spanish-speaking interpreter?
Portuguese.
Oh, Portuguese. Okay, thank you. Sir, can you tell me your full name? And your date
Senhor,
of
me
birth?
diga seu nome completo e data de nascimento.
William Oliveira, 0407.
Sorry, interpreter is having a hard time hearing your client.
Speak loud.
Pode falar mais alto,
Habla
senhor?
alto.
William Ângelo Oliveira, 0407 de
William-
1997.
William Anjo de Oliveira, 040797.
Thank you. I'll appoint the public defender to represent Mr. William. Or do you,
Ok, o promotor público vai representar o senhor William.
Mr. William, do you want the public defender to represent you?
Senhor Williams, você quer o promotor público para te representar?
O que for melhor, não entendo muito bem.
Whatever's better. I don't understand really what's going on.
So, Ms. Izquierdo, did I say that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Izquierdo is a lawyer. Do you want her to represent you this morning?
A senhora Esquerdo, ela é advogada. O senhor quer que ela te represente esta manhã?
Sim.
Yes.
I'll have her represent you. All right, so, go ahead, Ms. Izquierdo.
Your Honor, I see Mr. Oliveira is set for a misdemeanor plea.
On this case?
Ela vai te representar então. Eu vejo que o William está pendente por uma contravenção.
According to the document I have, I'm not sure if that's accurate.
No, that's misdemeanor, that's the section.
De acordo ao documento que eu tenho em mãos.
Oh, okay.
Não tenho certeza que se está certo.
I apologize. Does the state have an offer in this case?
No, it's got a
Desculpa,
victim. There's a victim, and so
o
we're gonna have
Estado
to
tem
have.
uma... I'm sorry, ladies. Interpreter needs everyone to speak kind of one at a time if you want me to do the consecutive.
All right, let me just recap. So there is no offer. The state has not had a chance to talk to the victim. I will set bond. I find probable cause. I'll set bond on count 1 at $500, count 2, $500.
Ok, então não tem nenhum tipo de ofensa, não tem nenhum tipo de caso ou nenhum tipo de documentação nesse caso da contravenção. O Estado tem a causa provável. Pela condenação de a primeira contravenção vai ser $500 e a segunda fiança vai ser $500.
You cannot go back to the restaurant.
Você não pode retornar ao restaurante.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Ok, obrigada, senhor.
Okay, thank you, Portuguese interpreter.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Interpreter
too.
disconnecting.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, does anyone else need to say?
Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay, thanks. All right, good morning, ma'am. Could you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Omari Cepeda, August 11th, 1998.
All right, and I'll appoint the PD to represent you this morning. Ma'am, you've been charged with dating violence battery. I've reviewed the affidavit. I do find probable cause.
She does qualify for PTR, Your Honor.
Yeah. State, what is your position on PTR?
The state does not object to PTR with a bond. We would actually prefer it.
Prefer which one?
PTR.
Okay. I'll release you to pretrial release. You are to have no contact with the victim in this case. No contact is no face-to-face contact or indirect contact, meaning through a cell phone, text message, social media, or someone that knows you and the victim. I think this is, you stay at this home so you can go back one time with law enforcement to get your belongings, okay? All right, thank you.
Your Honor, is the public defender appointed?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Maintain separate residence and one-time return with law enforcement. All right, next case. DeLauder, Ashley DeLauder?
Yes.
All right. Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Ashley Nicole DeLauder, 72785.
All right, and I'll go ahead and appoint the public defender to represent you. Ma'am, you have 6 cases. First case, you have petty theft with 2 prior convictions. Second case, petty theft with 2 prior convictions. Same as the third, same fourth, same fifth, same sixth. I've reviewed all of them. I find PC on every single case. I'll set bond in the amount of $1,000 for each count on every case. That's a total of $6,000. Also, you are not to return to the Target or the TJ Maxx, okay?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next case, Daniel Griffith. Good morning, sir.
Hello.
Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
J. Daniel Griffith, April 14th, 1971.
All right. Do you want the public? Yes, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you this morning. Sir, you've been charged with petty theft. I reviewed the affidavit. I do find PC. I'll set bond in the amount of $250. If you bond out, you are not to have contact with the victim in this case or go back to that location. All right, thank you, sir.
Your Honor, will you repeat that bond amount? I'm so sorry.
$250.
Thank you.
Your
Next-
Honor, may I have the page number on the docket?
I don't know that information. Next case is William Frederick Cologne. Is that you, sir?
Solo.
All right, Mr. Cologne, do you want the public defender to represent you this morning?
Oh, ma'am. That is twice.
Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, ma'am.
Okay. All right, sir, you were charged with disorderly conduct and city ordinance violation, which is, I believe, I think it's open alcohol.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so don't say, okay, so I've reviewed the affidavit, I find PC. I will set bond on count 1 in the amount of $250, count 2, $250.
Both counts are on alcohol.
Sorry?
Were both counts on alcohol
1 is disorderly conduct.
while inebriated?
Huh?
While intoxicated?
No, just disorderly conduct, count 1, second is the open container.
Okay.
Okay, so you got bond 500 total,
I
okay?
didn't have money. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. Have a good day. Next case is Jones Shipley. Is that you, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Good
All
morning,
right.
Your Honor.
Mr. Shipley? All right, Mr. Shipley, we're gonna get your private lawyer on the phone, okay?
That's good. Thank you.
Mrs. Izquierdo, have you had has the state provided you a copy of the affidavit?
I believe it was on the desk.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, he has a private lawyer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so, sorry. Hello?
Good morning. This is Attorney Harold Backus.
Oh, Mr. Backus, okay, good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
All right, I've got your client, Mr. Kamari Jones Shipley. This case
Yes.
has been reset because of the PC issue.
Yes, ma'am.
So go ahead with your motion, or your argument.
Okay, argument. Judge, well, the issue is that there was no warrant issued or signed by a judge of competent jurisdiction in this case. Mr. Jones Shipley was brought over from Marion County on an alleged warrant, and there's none. There was nothing at all. The case is actually before 383 is actually before Judge Barber, and in previewing the court file, no warrant has ever been issued, and therefore I believe his hold would be unconstitutional, as there was nothing to hold him on.
Okay,
The case was referred to pretrial diversion.
so this morning, the state gave me an arrest warrant.
Okay, well then they cured it.
Yeah.
So okay, all right. Well, so
Yeah.
the state cured the defect because there was, I mean, they had a totally wrong case number.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if their attempt to cure an illegal hold would be effective, because it's after the fact, after he's been held in jail on an illegal hold. So I'm not sure, based on any statute, and I'm not arguing that they're wrong, but I don't know for a fact that they can cure it if the underlying hold and arrest was illegal.
Yeah, they can cure it. They can have 24 hours, and they did that. Okay, any other arguments, Mr. Backus?
No, Judge. We're actually trying to resolve the cases that he has. I've spoken to the prosecutor, who is going to send me an offer to resolve the cases. This is his. This offense would have been his first offense, and he's still under 21. So we're going to try and resolve the cases. in the most expedited manner.
Okay,
Your Honor, the state does have an argument for bond.
okay, and what is
Thank
that?
you.
Hold on one
Judge,
second. Hold on one second, Mr. Bacchus. Go ahead, state.
Yes, Your Honor. Since supplementing the affidavit this morning, I spoke with the detective on this case, and the detective informed me that this individual was picked up in Marion County and has an open case there, currently wanted out of Osceola County, and the case, he has an active warrant signed Thursday in case number 22 CF 3316. He also has 25 active cases in Florida that range all the way to Fort Lauderdale. The state would be asking that he be held at no bond given the continuation of charges being filed, and he also was out on probation
No, he was not.
at the time of this arrest.
Okay,
According
defendant was
to my
defendant was never placed on probation for any offense.
Oh, no, he was out on bond. I'm sorry. I misread my my note. It was out on bond when he was picked up for this case, and he was violated previously and revoked for the new law offense.
And that's sorry, state.
That's okay. It's hard when you can't see. Go ahead.
No, that's one of the reasons why I know that under the law the state can request that he be held on no bond, and I know the court does have jurisdiction to do so. I am not aware of all these other charges stemming from Osceola County and 25 cases. This defendant certainly has not traveled to Osceola County. He's never been in Osceola County. He didn't even know where Osceola County was. So I'm quite confident that some of these alleged cases are going to fall by the wayside. But I certainly would not make an argument, understand the statutory requirements that he be held on no bond. Like I said, we're trying to resolve the cases to get it resolved in the most expedient manner.
Which case is he out on bond? What's the case number? Hold on, Mr. Bacchus, 1 second.
Okay.
I have a violation of release conditions, case number 22 CF 13449.
Yeah, I see it too.
I also have.
Isn't that this case?
That's this case.
I also have.
No.
This is what I have in the email. I'm going to try and get through it so that the Marion County case is from September 27th. I have an Orange County case from April 6th. That case number is 22 CF 2516. I also have another Orange County case from January 11th of this year, and that case is 22 CF 383. The out on bond case was the 22 CF 383 case, and he violated the conditions of release for that case by picking up this case.
Okay, so if I may, Judge, the defendant has two cases in Orange County, 22 CF 383 and 22 CF 2516. We have filed a motion to dismiss on the 22 CF 2516. That case involves an illegal search under the Fourth Amendment of a wallet, and that case is before Judge Calderon. The case 383 is before Judge Barber. There is no other case in Orange County, and that is where the issue is. That there is a case out of I don't know where it comes from, but there is no such case whatsoever before the court. He's never been arrested and charged with anything of that nature. So he only has two cases. Okay. So any information concerning any other case is incorrect, and certainly not a basis for anything.
Okay, 1 second.
Yes.
All right, so there is a confusion as to 22 CF 383 and 22 CF 13449, but I just had the clerk look up 22 CF 2516. He is out on bond on that.
That
So,
is correct.
yeah, okay, so based upon what I've reviewed, I'm going to revoke his release.
Your
and-
Honor, we don't have a FAD or anything for that, just
what?
so you're aware, like a first appearance detainer for out on bond, because we don't do those for conditions of release. So I'm not sure how they would handle that downstairs for an out on bond here in Orange.
I'm not really sure what that means.
So we don't put holds on them because of a violation of conditional release that isn't on now. So we don't have anything open holding him on like an Orange County case for a first appearance detainer for an out on bond or anything.
And Judge, like I said, this confusion started with Marion County.
22 CF, hold on one moment. 22
Yes, Judge.
CF 2516.
Well, I'm just saying, because of his charge now, we don't have anything in our system like holding him on that. Because it's a violation of conditional release, we don't put out on bonds on that. We don't put first appearance detainers.
Okay, well, he's out on bond on 22 CF 2516, and he's picked up he's got this warrant that was signed by Judge Karsten in 22 CF 383. So I'm revoking his release in 22 CF 2516. Then it can go before the court, and they can sort out all of his cases. All right, thank you, Mr. Bacchus. Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
All
I
right,
really
have a good one.
appreciate this. You too. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. All right, next case is Rufus Devine. Good morning, sir. Could you tell me your full name and date of birth?
Rufus Devine, 09/25/1977.
All right, Mr. Devine, I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you this morning. You've been charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, aggravated assault with a firearm, and aggravated battery with the firearm. I've reviewed the affidavits. I do find probable cause. I'm setting bond in count 1 in the amount of $1,500, count 2 in the amount of $50,000, count 3 in the amount of $50,000. If you are to bond out, you are to have no contact with the victim in this case. You are not to return to the scene of the location. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. Thank you, sir.
You cannot have contact.
Next case is Gonzalez Saxton. Hi, could you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Jose Alexius Gonzalez Saxton. I'm 29.
Your date of birth?
5/15/93.
Okay. Sorry. All right, sir, you are out on domestic violence battery and 22 MM 7555. You were also arrested for domestic violence battery and obstructing justice and tampering with a witness. Good morning, ma'am. Could you raise your right hand, please?
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
State your name for the record.
Leanne Keene.
All right. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Ms. Keene, I reviewed the affidavit. I do find PC for both counts. Do you want to have contact with the victim in this case?
I am the victim.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Do you want to have contact with Mr. Gonzalez Saxton?
Yes, that's fine, Your Honor.
Okay, and do you want him to return to the home?
He's welcome to come to the house as long as he doesn't have any more hostility.
Okay. Are you afraid for your safety?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you understand that even with these cases open, that you can still call the police if things do escalate to a point where you need to call the police?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So is it the same state? Is it the same victim as the misdemeanor?
I believe so, Your Honor. I do have some arguments regarding bond.
Go ahead.
And conditions of release. Based off the affidavit and some of the statements alleged by the victim, including those regarding filing reports and dropping charges, and statements such as, if you file another report, I'll hurt you. The state's asking for no contact. I appreciate what the victim has said today in court, but as the state, there are concerns for her safety. It also appears that the victim's safety may be in danger from family members, given the statements made by the defendant according to the report, and we would ask that there be absolutely no contact between the parties.
All right, defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Keene is present, has testified that she wants contact with Mr. Saxon, wants him to return as well, as long as there's no hostility. Therefore, defense is requesting no hostile contact instead.
State, what's your position on the current release in the misdemeanor case?
I am looking that up now.
All right, Mr. Gonzalez-Saxon, based on everything I've reviewed and even listening to Ms. Keene, unfortunately, I'm going to revoke your release on the misdemeanor case of 2022 MM 7555 because it also involves the same victim, and it does concern me with some of the alleged statements that are contained in the new case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to revoke your release on the misdemeanor, and in the new case, I'm setting bond in the amount of $1,000 on the domestic violence battery and $250 on the obstruction charge. Also, you are to have no contact with the victim in this case. No contact is no face-to-face contact or indirect contact, meaning text messages, social media, or through someone that knows you and the victim. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. You are to maintain separate residence. You can go back one time with law enforcement to collect your belongings. Thank you, sir. Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Next case, Kirkwood. Good morning, sir. Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Tariq D. Kirkwood, 05/12/97.
All right, Mr. Kirkwood, I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you this morning. Sir, you were charged with false imprisonment, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and domestic violence battery. Also, you are out on a failure to appear. I'm going to stay the amount on the failure to appear in the amount of $500. I've reviewed the affidavit. I find PC on all three counts. You are on the false imprisonment. I'm setting bond in the amount of $2,500. Count 2, $2,500. Count 3, $1,000. You are not to return to the location, and you are not to possess any weapons or firearms. All right. Thank you, sir. Yes. No contact. Did I say that? No contact with the victim. Okay. No face-to-face or indirect. Thank you. Thanks, Denise. Are you Mr. Moore? Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Stacey Moore, 6/1/1992.
Thank you. Mr. Moore, I'm going to appoint the PD to represent you this morning. Sir, you were charged with aggravated battery or domestic violence battery. I reviewed the affidavit. I do find probable cause. I'm setting bond in the amount of $1,000. You are to have no contact with the victim. No contact means no face-to-face contact or indirect contact, meaning through someone that knows you and the victim or through text messages or social media. No weapons or firearms, and no return to the location. Thank you, sir. Okay, so don't say anything about the case, but go ahead. Oh, why don't you ask your lawyer?
Your Honor, Mr. Moore advised that he resides with the victim.
All right, you can go back one time with law enforcement to get your stuff, okay?
We have a business.
All right, next case is Johnny Otis Williams. Sir, could you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Johnny Otis Williams Jr., 9/3/80.
All right, sir. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you this morning. Sir, you've got two cases. I have you've been charged with domestic violence battery and also the violation of probation. I've reviewed the affidavit. I do find PC on the domestic violence battery. I'm setting bond in the amount of $2,500. You're to have no contact with the victim in this case. No contact is no face-to-face contact or indirect contact, meaning no text messages, no social media. You can't contact her through someone that knows you and the victim. No weapons or firearms. Also, based upon my finding of probable cause, I'm going to set no bond on the violation of probation. And you can go before the court. All right, thank you, sir. All right, next case. Wilkie Ellisdor?
And he does qualify for PTR, Your Honor.
Okay. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Could you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
11/08/1977.
Okay. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Good morning, ma'am. Could you raise your right hand, please?
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the test, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Naika Grafton.
All right, thank you, Ms. Grafton. Sir, you've been charged with domestic violence battery. I've reviewed the affidavit. I do find probable cause. Ms. Grafton, do you want contact with the defendant?
Yeah, I want my husband back.
Okay. Are you afraid for your safety?
I'm not afraid. I miss him.
I'm sorry?
I miss him.
Okay. Do you understand that if he comes back to the home, that you can still call the police if something happens?
Yes.
Okay. And so what I will do is, because of the facts and also because of your lack of priors, I'm going to release you to pretrial release. You are to have no hostile contact, meaning if things get escalated or heated between you and her, you have to walk away. You understand? No weapons or firearms and, no hostile contact. Okay? So if something happens and you start fighting, you can call the police and he has to walk away. You understand?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, sir. Can you tell me your full name and date of birth?
My name is Nicholas Andrews, May 4th, 1995.
All right. Sir, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Sir, you've been charged with domestic violence battery. I've reviewed the arrest affidavit. I do find probable cause.
He does qualify for PTR, Your Honor.
Okay. Oh, sorry, you don't qualify for the public defender. Well, I will,
Your
based
Honor, I
on,
apologize. Is it the public defender or PTR?
he does not qualify for the PDs, but he does qualify for pretrial.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So what I will do is I'll release you to pretrial release. No contact with the victim in this case. No contact means no face-to-face contact or indirect contact, meaning through someone that knows you and the victim, or text message. You can't text message or no social media.
Now, what about my son? Because I have a 10 months.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to unfortunately have that resolved. So you're gonna have to find a lawyer to represent you, okay? No weapons or firearms, and you can go back one time to get your belongings. All right, thank you, sir. Next case, Jivan Kandaya, is that you, sir?
No, ma'am, he's mental health.
Okay, we'll reset for 24 hours. Yes. Yeah. All right, are you?
Page 5 of the docket.
All right, next case, Monroe. Is that you, sir? Can you tell me your full name and date of birth?
Artez Monroe, 11/29/2000.
Okay.
Mr. Monroe does qualify for PTR, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Monroe, I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Sir, you've been charged with domestic violence battery. I reviewed the affidavit. I do find probable cause. Based on your priors, you do qualify for pretrial release, so I'll release you to pretrial. No contact with the victim. You can't talk to the victim or text messages, no text messages, no social media, no friends, or talking to the victim with friends. You can go back one time to get your belongings with law enforcement, maintain separate residences, and no weapons or firearms. Thank you, sir. All right. Next case, Nanda.
And they qualify for PTR as well, Your Honor.
Okay. Good morning, sir. Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
My full name is Navdeep Nanda,
And your birthday?
June 21st, 1988.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. Can you raise your right hand, please?
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Can you tell me? Oh,
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Jasleen Chug.
okay. Thank you. Mr. Nanda, I reviewed the arrest affidavit. I find probable cause. Ms. Chug, do you want to have contact with Mr. Nanda?
Yes, Your Honor, I would like to amicably resolve our domestic dispute.
Okay. But you want to have contact with him?
Yes.
Okay. Would he be moving back home with you all?
Yes.
Okay. You understand that you can still call the police if something were to happen at the home, even with this case open, right?
Okay.
Okay. And are you afraid for your safety?
No.
Okay. So, Mr. Nanda, you qualify for pretrial release. I'm gonna release you through pretrial release. No hostile contact. That means if you and her get into a fight, you have to walk away. You understand?
Yes.
No weapons, no firearms. Okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next case is Richardson, Dion.
Your Honor, just a moment, please. We had a victim sitting out here for, one of the move-ups, Bill Marie Cepeda, but he just never came into the booth. He's been sitting there. He never came in. So I'm just asking before he leaves, or did you want to hear from him, or?
Sir, why don't you come up? He's for who? Cepeda?
Cepeda, yes, ma'am.
She was a young lady at the beginning, Your Honor. May we recall her so she's present? Okay.
She's,
Thank you.
Your Honor, she's already gone. You ordered no contact under PTR conditions. It's the state's position. Let me make sure before I say.
All right, so hold on. I'm recalling Bill Marie Cepeda. Oh, I remember her. Okay. Good morning, sir. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me your full name?
Alberto Rodriguez.
Okay, Mr. Rodriguez, you can put your hand down. So I released her to pretrial release, and I said no contact with her. Do you want contact with her?
We have a 5-month-old son. I would like at least contact so we can communicate with, trying to find out what to do with him.
Do you all live together?
Yeah, I just moved out yesterday because of the situation. So she resides in the place and I don't anymore.
Okay. And you only want to have communication with respect to your son and things to take care of the baby?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'll amend and vacate the court's ruling on the no contact, and it'll be contact only for the purposes of caring for the child. Can we do that? Okay, can you talk to her through a third party, someone that knows you and her?
I can talk to her stepfather, but I mean, I'm not really far with them.
So just for today, what I'm going to rule is that you only communicate with her through the stepfather, okay? If you want that changed or something, you just contact the state and they can assist you with that.
Okay.
All right?
Your Honor?
Yes.
Typically, they use an app or used for parental contact. Can we put that on the order as well so that if through the stepfather, they're able to establish communication through an app that allows contact for the children, that they can do that moving forward?
Sure. What's the app called? All right. Contact the state. There's an app that you can talk to her through. So I'll let you talk to the victim through the stepfather or through the app. Contact the state attorney's office. They'll give you more information, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. Are you Mr. Richardson? All right. Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Leon Gerard Richardson, 5389.
Okay. Mr. Richardson, I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Sir, I've reviewed the affidavit. I do find probable cause. I'm setting bond in the amount of $1,500. You are not to return to the location, and you cannot have any contact with the victim in this case. No contact is no face-to-face contact or indirect contact, meaning through you, someone you know, or through social media or text messages.
Can I resolve this case?
Not today.
Your Honor?
Yes.
It's talking parents. I just remembered.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Richardson.
He's already gone.
Erica Alfaro is outside medical.
All right. Alfaro?
Yes, ma'am.
You said?
Outside medical.
Okay, I'm going to reset.
You're on a reset to tomorrow?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Beltran. Are you Mr. Beltran?
Ma'am.
Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Julian Felix Beltran, 050203.
Okay. Sir, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you this morning. You were charged with grand theft of a motor vehicle and trespass of a conveyance.
He does qualify for PTR, Your Honor.
Yeah. I've reviewed the affidavit. I do find PC. I'll release you to pretrial release.
Any conditions with that, Your Honor?
State, any conditions?
I would just ask for no return to the scene and don't drive cars that aren't yours.
Okay, but it's the 6200 block of iDrive. All right. So no conditions. Thank you. Next case. Dorsey? Doriska? Okay. Is that you, sir? Okay, come up to the podium. Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Eliseo Doriska, June 5th, 1986.
Thank you. Mr. Doriska, I'm going to have the public, do you want the public defender to represent you? Huh?
No.
Okay.
My own lawyer.
I'm sorry?
No, I will get my own lawyer.
Okay. Mr. Doriska, you are out on release on 22 MM 4894 and also, there's a arrest affidavit for you on 22 CF 11345, and you were charged with possession of cocaine with intent to sell or deliver and possession of cannabis under 20 grams. I've reviewed the new case. I find PC. I'm setting bond on count 1 for $7,500, count 2 $100. I'm going to stay the previous bond amount in 22 CF 11345, which is, that's already set at $3,500 for all those charges, and I won't take any action on the misdemeanor trespass. Yeah?
And then the 11345, these are the bond amounts. This is a separate case. This is another case.
Oh.
So he's out, he has 2 cases, and he's out on bond on this case.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll stay this amount.
Okay. And then the out on bond case. This is a new warrant. And then.
Yeah, this one I'm doing, no action on misdemeanor. Okay, thank you, sir.
Am I here to, you just telling me what's going on, or just?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so you're out on bond on a misdemeanor. I'm not gonna revoke your release, okay? So that stays as is. But you also had a warrant that was out for your arrest, and that is bond 50, that's possession of MDMA, possession of drug paraphernalia, and driving with a suspended license.
May I ask a question?
No,
May I
not,
step in as
I'm
part
just,
of the-
I'm just telling you what's happening, okay? So there's a warrant, a judge signed it, bond has been set in 1,500, 500, and 1,500, and then you have another case that you just got arrested on, that bond is 7,500 and 100. All right, sir? Thank you very much. Next case, Francis. Could you tell me your full name and date of birth, please?
Yes, it's Darius Francis, March 2nd, 1991.
What's your birthday?
Sorry?
What's your birthday?
March 2nd, 1991.
All right, sir. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. I reviewed the arrest affidavit. I do find PC. You qualify for pretrial release, so I'm going to release you for pretrial, okay? Thank you, sir.
Any conditions, Your Honor?
No. Thank you, sir. Next case is Frazier. Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Frazier, can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Kiara Nasha Frazier, 23, 1999.
Okay. Ms. Frazier, do you want the public defender to represent you this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll appoint the PD to represent you. You've got 2 cases. So, one, you have a warrant out for your arrest. Bond was already set at count 1, 25,000, count 2, 1,000, count 3, 1,000, for the total of $27,000. I'm gonna keep that amount. That was robbery, petty theft, and battery. Your second case, there's a warrant out for your arrest on a robbery charge. Bond was set at $10,000. I'm gonna keep that the same. You are to have no contact with the victim or co-defendants in both of these cases, and you are to have no weapons and no return to the scene on both cases. All right, thank you, ma'am. Next case is Holdman.
Bonded.
Bonded, okay, thank you. Are you Mr. James?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Demarius James, 05/07/2003.
All right, Mr. James, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you this morning. Sir, you were charged with possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver, sale or delivery of MDMA, possession of drug paraphernalia with intent to sell, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I reviewed the arrest affidavit. I find PC on all counts. Count 1, I'm setting bond in the amount of 15,000. Count 2, 10,000. Count 3, 2,500. Count 4, 2,500. All right, thank you, sir.
Is it any,
There's another case, Your Honor, as well, a
Oh,
misdemeanor
yes.
cannabis.
Yes, and you got a second case too. Hold on. Second case, possession of cannabis under 20 grams. That bond amount is 500. All right, thank you, sir. Next case, Johnson.
Bonded.
Okay. Mr. King? All right, can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Christopher King, February 20th, 1985.
All right. Mr. King, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Sir, you've got a failure to appear warrant that's out on you for possession of youth alone. Bond was set at $2,000, so I'm gonna keep that the same, okay? Thank you, sir. Next case, Laston. Are you Miss Laston?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
It's Kristen Ashley Laston, 6/15/97.
All right. Ms. Laston, I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you this morning. Ma'am, you were charged with petty theft, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of a controlled substance. I reviewed the arrest affidavit. I do find PC. I'm going to set bond on the petty theft in the amount of $250. Count 2, 500. Count 3, 1,000. Don't go back to that location. All right. Thank you, ma'am. Next case, Lewis. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
All right. Mr. Lewis, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, based on the reading of the, may we waive the reading of the charges based on the charges?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sir, I'm going to waive reading what you've been charged with, okay? I reviewed the arrest affidavits on all 7 counts. I find probable cause on all of them. Count 1, 2, and 3, I'm setting bond in the amount of 0. I do find proof evident presumption great based upon the affidavit that was presented. Count 4 and 5, I will set bond in the amount of $10,000 each. Count 6 and 7, I'm setting bond in the amount of $5,000 each. You are to have no contact with the victim in this case. No contact is no face-to-face contact or indirect contact, meaning through someone that knows you and the victim or through social media and text messages. All right, sir.
So I can't bond out?
Mr. Lewis, I'm sorry. Can I have?
Oh. Yeah.
Talk about that. I need you to sign this, please.
Count 6 and 7 is 5,000.
Basically, you cannot speak to you, anyone unless your attorney's present. Thank
Sir,
you.
count 8, I'm going to set bond in the amount of 5,000.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Count 8 was 5,000, Your Honor? Thank you.
All right, are you Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Lewis, can you tell me your full name and date of birth?
To do is 04/01/1982.
All right, Mr. Lewis, you've been charged with possession of cocaine with intent to sell or deliver and possession of cocaine. I reviewed the arrest affidavit. I do find probable cause. On count 1, I'm setting bond in the amount of $15,000. Count 2, bond is set at $150. All right, thank you, sir. Next case, Lundy. Okay. Next case is Mars.
Bonded as well.
Okay. Next case is Mitchell. Is that you, sir? Are you Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
All right. Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Check this. Yeah. Carol Mitchell, 05/04/1979.
All right, Mr. Mitchell. There's a warrant out for your arrest on burglary with a battery and robbery. PC was found by that judge. Count 1. And unfortunately, you don't qualify for the public defender, so you don't have a lawyer this morning. All right, count 1, I'm gonna set bond. count one, I'm gonna set bond in the amount of $5,000. It was previously no bond, but I'm gonna give you a bond of $5,000. Count two is $2,500. If you do bond out, you can't go back to that place, okay? Don't go back to that place. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Oh, wait a minute.
What was the bond again, 5,000, so?
5,000 and 2,500, also, hold on. No contact with the victim, no return to the location, and don't possess any weapons or firearms.
Okay.
Okay. All right, next case, Mitchell? Good afternoon. Can you tell me your full name and date of birth?
Tyson LaRue Mitchell. I'm sorry. Tyson LaRue Mitchell, 6/18/83.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you, sir. All right, sir, you've been charged with child abuse. I'll appoint the public wait, do you want the public defender to represent you this morning?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay. Sir, you've been charged with child abuse. I reviewed the arrest affidavit. I find PC. I'm setting bond in the amount of $5,000. If you bond out, you can't have any contact with the victim in this case. No contact is no face-to-face contact or indirect contact, meaning you can't talk to her through someone that knows you and her or through text messages or social media. All right? Thank you, sir. Moore? Are you Miss Moore? Are you Miss Moore? Okay. Come up to the microphone so I can hear you, okay? Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Nicole Nikende Moore, 10/28/91.
All right. Miss Moore, do you want the public defender to represent you this morning?
Yes.
All right, I'll appoint the PD. Ma'am, you were charged with trafficking in MDMA, possession of cannabis, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I reviewed the arrest affidavit. I find probable cause. On count one, I'm setting bond in the amount of $50,000. Count two, $100. Count three, $100. All right, thank you, ma'am.
Can I talk to him about
Next case, Nixon? Nixon?
Do you have a booking number for them, Your Honor?
Yes. 22027081.
They bonded, Your Honor.
Okay, bonded. What about Christian Fernando Padierna?
Bonded.
Okay. What about Recio Batista? Is that, okay. Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth, sir?
Yeah, I know Rachel Bautista, 04161990.
All right, sir, you failed to appear at a previous case, so they issued a warrant for your arrest. Bond was set at $500, and I'm gonna keep that the same.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. Next case is Richards. Is that you, sir? Are you Mr. Richards? Yeah. All right, approach the podium, thank you. Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Mark John Richards, 3/14/1970.
All right, Mr. Richards, I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you this morning. Sir, there is a warrant out for your arrest, possession of fentanyl. Bond was set at $1,000, and I'm going to continue, I'll stay that amount. I'll keep it the same for $1,000, okay? No illicit substances. Thank you, sir. Next case, Robinson. Okay. Sanders. Is that you, sir? All right. Mr. Sanders, tell me your full name and your date of birth, please.
Lenore 76/29/94.
Okay. Mr. Sanders, I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you, sir. All right. It looks like you are out on bond on 22 CF 11399. And also, there's a warrant for you for the robbery on the amount of $10,000. And that's it. So, because you're out on release, I'm going to revoke your release in 22 CF 11399. Also, I'm going to keep the bond on the robbery the same at $10,000. No contact with the victim or co-defendants in this case, and you cannot go back to the location. Thank you, sir. Next case, Sivers. Are you Mr. Sivers?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Sivers, do you want the public defender to represent you this morning?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
All right, I'll appoint the PD to represent you. Sir, you were charged with possession of fentanyl, possession of alprazolam, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I reviewed the arrest affidavit. I find probable cause on all counts. I'm setting bond in the amount of 1,000, count 2, 1,000, count 3, 500. Thank you, sir.
What's that mean? How much is that altogether?
2,500. Thank you. Mr. Taylor?
Taylor was a bond.
Okay.
I'm sorry, he's medical.
Medical? All right, we'll reset. And next one is Whitlock.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Whitlock, tell me your full name and your date of birth.
Willie Jamar Whitlock, October 5th, 2001.
All right. And do you want the public defender to represent you this morning?
She actually couldn't make it, but she told me to ask you for a GPS monitor.
Hold on,
I am-
hold on. You have a public defender or a private lawyer?
I have a private lawyer.
Okay, and what's her name?
Her name is, it was just on my head. Her name is,
Okay.
please.
So, let me just tell you what you've been charged with, okay? So, all right, so nothing's been filed, but you've been charged with trafficking and fentanyl, possession of cannabis over 20 grams, possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver, possession of drug paraphernalia with intent to sell, possession of heroin, and possession of drug paraphernalia. You also have another case, which is reckless driving with traffic case. All right, so I reviewed the affidavit. I do find probable cause. I'm not gonna let you out on GPS, okay? So count 1, I'm setting bond in the amount of 10,000, count 2, 5,000, count 3, 5,000, count 4, 2,500, count 5, 2,500, count 6, 500. On the reckless driving, I find PC. I'm setting bond in the amount of $500. All right? Thank you, sir.
Thank you too, ma'am.
Next case, Williams. Is that you, sir? All right, Mr. Williams, tell me your full name and your date of birth.
Marquette Desiree Williams, 11/9/82.
All right, Mr. Williams, I'm appointing the public defender to represent you this morning. You were charged with possession of cocaine and resisting without violence. I reviewed the arrest affidavit. I find PC. I'm gonna set bond on the possession of cocaine in the amount of 1,000, and on the resisting, I'll set bond in the amount of $100. I'll lower it from 500 to 100. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Your Honor, before we conclude this part, the inmate before Williams Whitlock, although he indicated he had a private, I believe the clerk notified the court that he did not have a private. I see there is an alert for mental health. And in abundance of caution, may the public defender be appointed?
No.
Thank you.
He expressly said no.
Thank you.
All right. So next case, Lund.
Bonded.
How did he bond? Okay.
Morning.
Oh, because it's a DUI? They said- Okay. McFarland?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. McFarland, can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Philip McFarland, September 16th, 1996.
All right. You want the public defender to represent you this morning?
Yes, she can because my lawyer's not here. I do have a lawyer, Evan Self, but I called him and he didn't show up.
Okay. All right, so I'll just appoint her for this morning, okay? So, Mr. McFarland, you are out on bond on 2020 CF 15301, and then you have this DWLS charge you picked up. All right. All right, I'm not gonna revoke your bond, okay? So I'm gonna leave the 2020 CF 15301 as is. On the traffic violation, I'm gonna set bond in $500. Don't drive without a license. You're out on bond, okay? All right, thank you. Next case. Oh. Yes. Next case is Ramos. Is that you, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ramos, can you tell me your full name and your date of birth, please?
This is Ramos, August 2nd, 71.
All right. Mr. Ramos, I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you this morning. Sir, you are charged, you have two cases. You got an expired tag and possession of drug paraphernalia. I've reviewed everything. I find PC. I'm setting bond on the expired tag and for $500, and then on the drug paraphernalia, I'm setting bond in the amount of $500, okay? Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Dixon? All right, tell me your full name and your date of birth, please.
Johnny Frank Dixon Jr., 7/18/2004.
All right, Mr. Dixon, I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you this morning. You were out on bond on 2022 CF 4155, and then you picked up a possession of cannabis under 20 grams. So, all right, I'm not gonna revoke your release on the 2022 CF 4155. On the possession of cannabis, I'll set bond in the amount of $500. Don't get arrested again. You're out on bond. Another judge may revoke your release. You understand? All right, thank you, sir. Next case is Doe.
Mental health?
Okay, we'll reset. Next case is Claudio Galavetta.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth, please?
Yes, February 11, 1977.
Okay.
And the name is Claudio Galavera.
Okay. So, Mr. Galavetta, you are out on bond on dealing in stolen property, and then you picked up a petty theft. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you this morning. I'm revoking your bond on the 2022 CF 3156 dealing in stolen property. I'll set bond on the petty theft in the amount of $500. If you bond out, don't go back to that Saks location. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The out on bond case is set at 9, correct?
Yeah. Hardy? Are you Mr. Hardy? Okay, hi. Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth, please?
Harry Jeffrey Hardy, April 3rd, 1998.
All right, Mr. Hardy, you are out on bond on a possession of cocaine case, and then you picked up a trespass in a structure. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. So, based on the underlying facts, I'm going to revoke your release on the possession of cocaine, and on the trespass, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $250. If you bond out, don't go back to that location, okay? Thank you, sir. Next case is Kobe Brett?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Brett Fine Kobe, 8772.
All right. Mr. Kobe, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Sir, you were charged with possession of drug paraphernalia and resisting without violence. I reviewed the affidavits. I find PC on both counts. Count 1, I'm setting bond in the amount of $1,000. Count 2, setting bond in the amount of $1,000. Thank you, sir. Next case is Poole, Freddie.
Do you have a booking number for them, Your Honor?
22027049.
Looks like they bonded, Your Honor.
Okay. Next case is Tyler.
And they too qualify for PTR.
Okay. Are you Miss Tyler? All right. Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Aaliyah Tyler, Aaliyah Tyler, 10596.
All right, Miss Tyler, I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Ma'am, you've been charged with petty theft. I reviewed the arrest affidavit. I find probable cause. You qualify for pretrial release. I'm going to release you through pretrial. Don't go back to that location.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? Walmart. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next case is Callahan.
Medical?
Okay, we'll reset. Killen. Tabitha Killen. 22027047.
Looks like they bonded, Your Honor.
Okay. Monel.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth, please?
Alexander Monell, 4/30/1998.
All right, Mr. Monel, do you want the public defender to represent you this morning? You want a lawyer to talk on your behalf this morning?
Can you give me like 2-3 seconds very quick?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
All
Your
right.
Honor.
All right, I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. You've got two things. One, you have an out-of-county warrant where looks like it's a VOP out of Palm Beach. No bond was set on that. And then the second one, you have a warrant, and that's, huh? Oh, it's just one. Oh, I see. So you, so Judge Rowe set no bond, so I'm gonna keep it the same. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next case, Williams. Are you Mr. Williams? All right, can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Giovanni Williams. Giovanni Javoy Williams, April 13, 2002.
All right, Mr. Williams, you want the public defender to represent you this morning?
Yes.
Okay, I'll appoint her to represent you. You've got some out-of-county, you have an out-of-county warrant. They set bond on a bunch. Is that the same thing?
There's one case.
Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna keep it the same. 2,000, 2,000, 500, 500, 500, 250. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ayers? Are you Mr. Ayers? All right, tell me your full name and your date of birth.
Donald James Ayers.
And your birthday?
Oh, January 25th, 1996.
All right, Mr. Ayers, do you want the public defender to represent you this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll appoint her. Mr. Ayers, PC was already found. I'm gonna set bond in the amount of $500. Don't go back to this location.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Next case, Huffman. Yes. Are you Mr. Huffman?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
April 25th, 1984.
All right,
John Henry Huffman.
sorry?
John Henry Huffman.
Okay,
April 25th, 1984.
got it. Do you want the public defender to represent you this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll appoint her to represent you. Mr. Huffman, you were charged with open alcohol container.
Yes, ma'am.
I reviewed the affidavit, I find PC. I'm gonna set bond and, State, is there an offer?
His last conviction was November 3rd for assault on a law enforcement officer. We'd be asking for a week in the county jail.
You want credit time served? All right. I'm gonna have you fill out a plea form. You understand you have the right to go to trial, you have the right to a lawyer, you have the right to all the discovery in the case, but you're giving that up by pleading to this, and it's an adjudication and credit time served? Is that what you want to do? Are you aware of what's happening and going on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, sir. So I'll give you credit time served. And I think she's signing a plea form, but that plea form lists out all of the rights that you have, and you're giving up those rights in exchange for this plea. Is that, so how do you plead?
Guilty.
No.
No contest.
Okay, I'll accept your plea. I find that you are alert and intelligent, that you are freely and voluntarily entering into this plea. And so I'll adjudicate you on this offense and give you credit time served. Also get with the clerk's office and set up a payment plan to pay off the court costs within, and I'll give you a year to pay it off. If you don't do that, it could suspend your license and other issues, okay? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next one is Stevenson. Is that you, sir? Yes, ma'am. All right. Can you tell me your full name and date of birth? All right, Mr. Stevenson, I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You are here because of a VOP, arrest warrant that was signed by Judge Davis, and they set no bond. Okay, so I'm going to keep it the same. Thank you, sir. Next case is Coleman.
Bonded.
Okay. Next case is Lagares.
Bonded as well.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Your Honor.